So the question of the day is, what do you do if someone's in trouble and they mess around? And as the question's put, it's kind of interesting. One comes out of the other and goes in the other, but the one remains in the same one that they were in. And I know what they're talking about. It's where one person's in one person, the stranger, they're either in and around the stranger. Sometimes they think they're in the stranger, and they're not. But what happens if this would go a whole generation? Depending on the outcome and whether or not the person agrees to it is totally different. As far as agreeances can always be broken, but proper notification of the months ahead have to be told to the person. At the same time, when an agreement is broken, you have to relinquish everything that person has to them. So if they had $30,000 and by the time whatever agreements that they came to was over, they had $14,000, it's possible you're responsible if it hasn't been done properly for the full $30,000. As far as the non-agreements, where someone just goes ahead and does it, that's pretty simple. Person dies, it's murder. It's not killing. It's actually killing and murder, but you get a double as far as what would go against you. As far as people's knowledge of how to do stuff, if a person is deceased, but some say you see people walking around and you get them to talk and they put a P on the ground, or an N or an H or an M or an N or a T, and you can get them to put like PN in the sand and whatnot, and that stands for punishment. The words are very simple that are used and very much far from one another. So sometimes the second alpha of that letter is used to make sure that see what happened. As far as bringing them back, that's totally up to them. Someone said it's totally up to someone else, even with an agreement, this, that, and the other thing. If you're dumb enough to put it into an agreement to try to regulate death, you're more than likely going to get incinerated. You're going to have a little box on your table. Be like, where did this box come from? And it'd be like, I don't know. It's gonna be like, oh, it's so fun, and all of a sudden you're so dead. And that's what a lot of people don't quite get. As far as people are like, how do you help a person like that? Anyway, who is technically, as they say, not in themselves. But one, you gotta identify the fact of one thing. Are they in themselves or not in themselves? Are they looking through what I like to call in reference, okay? Reference, example, a corridor. And that's nothing more than, maybe a box, long stretch. But it's kind of like hallway vision, without the hallway vision. And how do you help them? One, I normally don't run around and try to fix them too much. If I have two right next to me, then I'm gonna sit there and I'm gonna put on some gloves and I'm gonna real quickly change you out back to yourselves. But as far as like trying to sit there and nitpick, if it really bugs you, I can do it. But if it really doesn't, because sometimes it's better, sometimes it's worse. It all depends. As far as how costly, there's never a cost until the event is over or what is happening is over. Because if you kill the person, then you don't want to take any money, not even insurance money. And in the event that the person dies because of the fact of their own stupidity, which is very well easily seen, as well as a very successful happening, that you did it correctly, you did everything by the book, or not by the book because there is no book, but you did it correctly, you did it with the fact of the person successfully. It's just that the body no longer is. So that's the other thing. Someone had asked why I don't do it no more. It's more of a break from everything, but there's another guy blaming people for stuff. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know why he's blaming people, because the event went off pretty easy. I walked in, person was dead, the other person was barely alive or dead, and it was told to the person's outcome is very, very slim, and death is the outcome for both, so at least possible for the one. They didn't listen. I walked out, got in my car and left. Ever since then, this guy has been on my case about, oh, you murdered this person. No, I didn't murder anyone, dude. You're the one with red in your eyes, where the white should be. So, stop blaming other people. But anyway, now, the other question that should have been a question that wasn't a question is, how do I handle that? Is they're dead. Simple. I don't. So, everyone thinks I go around fixing people. I don't. I can get you to walk to yourself, and that's a good thing. But, you know, you don't hand the other person back that you stole from, whether it be something of an example or reference of success or anything like that, then you gotta watch what you're doing. Because if the person doesn't give it back to you, you'll be in trouble. Somewhat. Because there's majors and minors on these, but at the same time, the person that is with their hand out, technically looking to reach out and, as they refer, pluck stuff from people, you might want to watch your ass on that, because I've proved to one person, you may be able to reach out and pluck people. I can reach out and pluck your whole LF out of you, and that's more, some would say, I don't want to put any words to it, but something you wouldn't want to do and whatnot to a person, but anyway, let's get back to it. As far as micromanaging this, you won't be able to, and if you do try to, you'll more than likely get the stomp put on against you, and that's where the people will revolt. They won't do treason, but they will revolt against you. That means you're more likely, if you start taking from people because you think you get your $50 million means something to someone, then someone will come along and they'll show you what $50 million and how fast you can lose it is, preferably. If not, and they start doing what you're doing, then they're just as bad as you are in the sense of this. But at the same time, of the same sense of this, you gotta ask yourself a question: is what you're doing correct and accurate? And if you can't control it, then you need to move around. But at the same time, with the government not being as lenient as it was in 1960, 1920, 1900s, and more of a light of today than a helper of sorts, then you got to realize this too. If war is prohibiting that as a successful society, but not so much as a society, but of a person, then thus war needs to be gotten rid of. If in the event that a person is prohibiting or stealing from another, then thus the person whom they're stealing from has the right to request death upon a person, which normally goes to me, as far as an answer. My answer is wait until death, don't request it, and when they die, or when they're alive, because it doesn't matter if you're alive or dead when this happens, and you're the one taking, I mean, I can take a very successful person who has a very successful life, who screwed up once, and make it a living hell. So, but I mean, I'm not not dead, but in the middle of passing on this. Anyway, that's what I gotta say.